Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now. This is the kind of rumor that gets every Steelers fan's pulse racing. Word is circulating that the Cleveland Browns are seriously contemplating a blockbuster trade involving none other than Myles Garrett. Yeah, you heard me right. The guy who's been a nightmare for offensive lines across the league could soon be donning the black and gold of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds almost too good to be true. But the whispers are growing louder, and if these sources are accurate, this could be one of the most seismic moves the AFC North has seen in recent years. Myles Garrett, at 30 years old, is arguably one of the most dominant edge rushers in the NFL, and his name alone strikes fear into the hearts of quarterbacks. Over his 8-year career, Garrett has amassed an incredible 98, 5 sacks, forced 18 fumbles, and maintained an impressive PFF grade that's consistently around the 93 mark. His combination of size, speed, and brute strength makes him a matchup nightmare. When you think about what he brings to the table, it's clear that Garrett isn't just a pass rusher. He's a disruptive force capable of wrecking entire game plans. And the potential trade. Well, according to sources close to Adam Schefter, the Browns are considering sending Garrett to the Steelers in exchange for 2 first-round picks, one in 2026 and another in 2027, plus a young edge prospect who could be a future star in the league. The idea behind this move: the Browns are in a bit of a rebuild mode after some injuries derailed their 2025 season, and they're looking to reload and reset. Cleveland is currently sitting at 1-2, with an offense that's stagnated around 18 points per game, and they're facing some tough decisions. They need cap space, especially with a quarterback in Deshaun Watson earning a hefty salary, along with extensions for Chubb and some key wide receivers. The Browns are also dealing with some financial constraints. They have around $22 million in cap space, but they need to make moves to structure their roster better. They're eyeing a future without Garrett at his current price of around $25 million per year, especially if they're going to invest heavily in other positions. Remember, Cleveland traded Clowney in 2022 to free up cap space, which did help their defense but left them more vulnerable on the line. Now, they might be willing to part ways with Garrett if it means acquiring multiple high draft picks and a young player who could develop into a cornerstone for their rebuild. But for us Steelers fans, this potential trade is like hitting the jackpot. Just imagine Garrett lining up next to TJ Watt, 2 of the most feared pass rushers in the league, wreaking havoc on quarterbacks and collapsing pockets with relentless pressure. It's a pairing that could turn the Steelers' defense into one of the most formidable units in the league, maybe even surpassing some of the best defenses in recent history. Think about the possibilities. Garrett and Watt together could generate over 45 sacks combined, creating pressure at a rate that would make opposing offenses think twice. It's not just about sacks, either. Garrett's presence would elevate the entire front 7, making life easier for the middle of the defense and improving run defense metrics, which currently allow around 110 rushing yards per game. With Garrett in the fold, that number could drop to 90, and turnovers could increase by as much as 8 in a season. Plus, the EPA per run could see a significant boost. The impact on the Steelers' overall performance would be profound. Their run defense would stiffen, their pass rush would become a nightmare for quarterbacks, and their chances of contending in the postseason would skyrocket. A duo of Garrett and Watt would be reminiscent of the legendary Von Miller and Aaron Donald pairing on the Rams back in 2021, a combo that disrupted offenses and helped lead to a Super Bowl appearance. The Steelers' defense, which has been historically known as the Steel Curtain, could become even more imposing with Garrett at the front. Now, let's talk about the potential playoff implications. If the Steelers manage to land Garrett, their odds of winning the Super Bowl would see a dramatic improvement. Right now, their odds are around +3,500, but with Garrett in the mix, those could improve to +1,500, making Pittsburgh a serious contender. Even in the AFC, their odds could shift from +1,600 to +600. Garrett's presence as a disruptive force could tip the scales against top contenders like the Chiefs. especially considering his sack rate, which is projected to be around 20% higher than the league average. If he joins Pittsburgh, we could see a situation where the Steelers' OL, which currently has an overall PFF grade of 80, is overwhelmed by Garrett's relentless pressure, similar to how Von Miller's arrival with the Rams changed the playoff picture in 2021. And let's not forget the legacy aspect. Garrett has already made a name for himself as one of the league's premier pass rushers, but a move to the Steelers could cement his status as one of the all-time greats in franchise history. The Steelers have always been about building a top-tier defense. Think about the Steelers of the 70s, the Steel Curtain era, and even recent seasons where defense was the cornerstone of their success. Adding Garrett would be like reigniting that old steel fire, transforming the team into a perennial powerhouse. His arrival could inspire young players, elevate the entire defense, and set a new standard for what a Steelers defense can be. Of course, there are questions and risks involved. Cleveland might not be eager to part with Garrett, especially not for just draft picks and a young player. The Browns could see him as their future cornerstone and might demand even more, maybe a high draft pick and a player of similar caliber. But if the Steelers' front office can pull off this move, it could be a game changer. It's about seizing the moment, making a bold statement that Pittsburgh is back in the championship hunt, and that they're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Looking at the broader picture, this kind of trade would send shockwaves through the AFC North. The division, already known for its physicality and tough competition, would see its power dynamic shift dramatically. Cleveland's defense could take a hit, while the Steelers' defense would become the envy of the league. It's almost poetic. Garrett, a predator of the pocket, joining forces with Watt, creating a nightmare for offenses week after week. This pairing would be a nightmare for any quarterback, especially considering Garrett's ability to generate pressure in every situation, whether in the run game or rushing the passer. In the end, this move would be more than just a trade. It would be a statement. It would signal that the Steelers are serious about reclaiming their spot at the top of the AFC, that they're willing to make bold moves to bring in game changers. And for us Steelers fans, it's exciting to imagine the possibilities. An elite defense that can dominate from the first snap to the last, setting us up for a deep playoff run and hopefully a shot at adding another Lombardi to the franchise's storied history. So as we wait and see if these rumors turn into reality, one thing is certain. The AFC North could be about to get a whole lot more interesting. And Pittsburgh, with Garrett in the fold, could be the team to watch. The Steel Curtain 2-0, maybe. But one thing is for sure, if it happens, it'll be one of the most exciting chapters in Steelers history, a true game changer that will be remembered for years to come. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe a Garrett trade is possible? Would you be excited to see him in black and gold? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Steelers news. This potential move could turn the tide in the AFC North and set Pittsburgh on a new path toward greatness. It's an exciting time to be a Steelers fan, and no matter what happens, we'll always stand behind our team, cheering them on every step of the way.